Hello everyone, welcome back to Teilosive Talks. Today is a very exciting day because we're doing something we don't often do over here at Teilosive: unbox and review new camera equipment. And today we finally have, after months and months of waiting, getting notifications that my package is back ordered. It had to be pre-ordered months ago. It's finally here. The Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K, which is a much smaller camera than my current Blackmagic. For those of you who don't know what it looks like, it's right up here. It's been recording most of my tech videos, a lot of Saturday shorts. In fact, most of the content that comes out of the Teilosive network that doesn't come out of this iPhone mostly comes out of this setup, which is a great camera. Video quality is excellent, but it is quite huge and it is quite heavy. Also, I bought it used and it was still fairly expensive. So I was very excited when I found out that Blackmagic would be updating the Pocket Cinema line, because they have made one Pocket Cinema camera before, but it could not record 4K at all. This one can. In fact, it has all the same recording resolutions, frame rates, and formats that giant Blackmagic does, except it's in this tiny compact form factor. Spoiler, I've already unboxed it. But what I haven't unboxed yet is a lens for it. So, like many cameras out there, this does not ship with a lens, and given these are still very much on back order and you have to pre-order them, you have to wait months and months and months before you can actually get yours. That means that there, at this time, was not a option to get a lens equipped to the Blackmagic already. So essentially what I'm saying is you have to buy it this way, but already this is a much better package than what I got with that original Blackmagic, because that one did not come with a lens, it did not come with a battery, and usually you have to order your own separate CFast cards, SD cards, and stuff like that, which this is kind of similar, except thankfully this one out of the box actually ships with a battery, and a quite small one. The batteries that giant Blackmagic take are enormous. They take a long time to charge, whereas this is quite tiny. Now, I have heard from people that the battery life on the Blackmagic is not great, but that's okay because they do include a direct power cable in there. So if you want to plug this thing directly into a wall, you can. And I know some people may be wondering, like, what are you going to do with your old Blackmagic? Why do you need a second one? It's actually been needed for a long time now. It's quite overdue that a lot of my videos, when I need two angles for something like an unboxing video, having that second angle that can also shoot at 4K, at 60, and also have a really good lens attached to it, I haven't been able to do that because I only have the one. So having two now is going to give me a lot more options when filming videos. Plus, this is going to be so much easier to move around the room compared to that giant brick. So I'm very excited to set this up and try it out, which, since it doesn't have a lens and it did ship early, so I wasn't able to order a lens in advance, I haven't been able to record anything with it, which is why, thankfully, we finally have a lens that came in. This is not a terribly expensive one. You can definitely go higher budget, but I don't need anything too fancy because you guys know what kind of videos I make, mostly tech stuff where I just stand there and talk. So nothing overly fancy, but this is a Rokinon 35mm T1.5, which is actually a lower aperture than I could get on the current Sigma lens attached to the Blackmagic. So maybe this lens could output some better quality images than we already had. Perhaps this camera will be considered an upgrade for a lot of people if we switch over to it. Now, I don't unbox lenses very often, and no, I cannot just take the lens off of the current Blackmagic and slap it on this one, because sadly that is an EF lens on the other Blackmagic and this is a micro 4/3 lens, which meant that, yeah, I had to buy a new lens for this camera, but that's okay because I need to use both of them at some point anyway. So taking the lens out of the box, dang, that has got some weight to it. Holy crap. This is also a full frame lens, by the way. Pulling it off the plastic like this. You know what's amazing about these micro 4/3 lenses? The fact that, like, they're pretty big. They have all these rings on them, different aperture settings and all that, and yet they all compact down to this tiny lens adapter. I think that's why they used micro 4/3 on this camera, is to get the size down. So now, thankfully, I finally get to attach this lens onto the Blackmagic, and we can start messing around with it and see how good of a camera it is. Looking at the camera down here, there's the red dot. Line up these two red dots, and click into position like so, and there you have it. Dang, this is a that's quite a hefty setup. Look at that. So there are a lot of tiny changes about the Pocket Cinema camera that I already love more than my Ursa Mini. The sensor is a little bit smaller, but for the most part, all of the same features we have are there. I think the dynamic range is actually a little bit better on this camera. All the same recording resolutions, frame rates, and formats. I talked about that. But also there's a power button that you have to click and hold to turn on that camera, whereas this has a very simple switch. You just flip the switch and the camera turns on, which I think is way easier to do. So taking off the lens cap here. Oh, whoa, I can open that aperture very wide. Holy crap. So this is a rather zoomed in lens. However, it does look quite crisp. Changing the focus ring here. Wow. It's looking really cool so far. Looks quite cinematic, and I'll have to show you more footage of it later, and hopefully I can kind of splice it into this vlog. For those who were curious if this is gonna now become my vlogging camera, no, this is still quite too bulky for me to carry around and take with me when I wanna film things on the go. I think I'm gonna still resort to my iPhone, but regardless, this is still a much lighter and more compact design than that giant Ursa Mini, so I'm excited to start using this. It has an HDMI port, it has a USB-C port, so I can write directly to external hard drives if I want to, whereas that cannot do that. It doesn't even have an HDMI port. It was quite dated when I bought it, but I was looking for something quick and that could save me money, so anyway, that's why I did. But all of the shots so far look really, really cool on this thing, and I'm excited to keep using it. Also, side note, this is not a permanent vlogging setup. I'm still, as you guys know, setting up my new office. I'll do a big office tour / reveal of the new house design and everything once everything's unpacked, set up, and ready, but for now, this is my angle that I'm going with. Plus, it's a vlog. In vlogs, I just kind of do whatever. I just film it with my iPhone. It doesn't have to be as specific as other videos or other channels, but as you'll notice, I did color the smart bulb to be purple in matching of the Tailosive Talks channel theme, so that was kind of smart, don't you think? That was kind of cool. Anywho, I'm very excited to start using this. It looks so cinematic, and I don't know how else to describe it. It just does. It looks like I'm watching a movie through this thing, and I'll also add very good bokeh. So, initial impressions. This is by no means a review. I've used this camera for like 20 minutes straight now. There's a lot of good, and there's some things that aren't so good, but overall my thoughts are positive. For one, being able to record at this high resolution at this frame rate and have it be ProRes video is insanely convenient, and I haven't had that before. Anytime I wanted to record video at that resolution with that quality, I've had to pack around that giant brick of the Ursa Mini. Compacting that into a design this small is super impressive, and I'm glad Blackmagic did it. Another thing I appreciate is the fact that this accepts SD cards as well as CFast cards, simply by sliding out that little mechanism here, and you just push, and just like an SD card, a CFast card will fit inside and hold all of that high quality precious footage that you care so much about. As I mentioned earlier, I like the switch. I prefer that much more than holding down the power button because that's confusing for a lot of people. I also like the UI. I'm not sure if there's a firmware update available for the Ursa Mini I have right now, but playing back video is actually much easier on the Pocket Cinema because you're able to scrub through the video after you recorded it. The display on here is very, very rich, and you can get a lot of that detail when you shoot things in 4K, and you can scrub through it very simply like this to get to that one part of the video you recorded, whereas before it was kind of awkward trying to find that part of the video you were looking for. Now, having that timeline to just scrub through with the touchscreen on here, very, very nice. Now, in regards to the Rokinon lens I purchased, it looks incredible. I haven't tinkered much with the color temperature on here or anything, so if that footage I just showed you earlier looked rough or uncolor corrected, that's because I haven't done much work on it. I literally just threw it together. The speaker on here is also incredibly quiet, so if you're trying to listen to playback, I highly recommend you use the headphone jack, which is included on the side. Tailosive Tech recommending the headphone jack. How crazy is that? If this thing supports Bluetooth, then use that instead. But I also think that this 35mm is a little bit too zoomed in for what I need it for in today's new office setup. See, before, when I was working in that big office with those bigger rooms, 35mm was the normal zoom length I was on with my Sigma lens. But now that I'm in a much smaller space and I'm trying to make the best of it, I think it makes more sense to switch to a more wider angle lens. So I have ordered one, very similar make and brand of this one, just simply a different focal length. The one I just ordered is a 21mm lens with a T1.4. So actually the one I just ordered will do a little bit better in in low light than this one. Not by much though. For the most part, the apertures are likely going to be quite the same. And even in my brief usage of this product, I have noticed the battery is quite small. You'll run out of a charge fairly quickly, but if you compare it to the size of the OG Blackmagic battery, you will see that the Pocket Cinema battery is far more portable than the Ursa Mini battery, which is not portable, takes a much longer time to charge, and did I also mention this one isn't working. So regardless, this is an upgrade in portability for me, while still retaining that same amount of quality you may expect from teilosive content. Plus, this lens, I think, could be a boost in the way videos look overall. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have an excellent day. Take care.